Good afternoon, and on behalf of the Florida League of Cities, we welcome you to today's webinar. Today's session is titled, Promoting Your Natural Assets. We welcome experts from both the City of Jacksonville and Seminole County who will share how they get the word out about their respective natural assets. We'll learn valuable information about how to target this information and form effective partnerships so that the plan you develop works best for you and your community. Before we get into the webinar, a little bit about today's presenters. Brian Knight is the Greenways and Natural Lands Manager for Seminole County Government, where he has been employed since March 2006. In his current role, Brian oversees roadway median landscaping, the recreational trail system, passive parks, turf grass management, park design construction, natural lands, and waterway channel marketing. Brian holds a bachelor's degree in economics and a master's degree in landscape architecture. He is a LEED accredited professional and certified arborist. Prior to joining the county, Brian worked in the engineering consulting field in South Florida. Sharon Sears has been the executive director of the Seminole County Convention and Visitors Bureau since 2007. Prior to that, she was the marketing and public relations manager for the Dayton International Airport for 22 years. She is a graduate of the University of Kentucky and has won numerous international and national and local awards in aviation, public relations, and tourism. Tara Meeks is the chief of the Waterfront Management Division for the City of Jacksonville and oversees the city's preservation parks, oceanfront parks, and waterway facilities. Tara has a bachelor's in biology from the University of North Florida and master's in public administration from Florida State University. She started working with the city this past January and has previously worked for the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission and the Department of Environmental Protection, as well as a private consulting firm in Jacksonville Beach. I want to remind our participants that this session will last 45 minutes with 15 minutes for questions at the end, and we ask that you hold your questions for that time. We ask that you please use your Q&A section to submit your questions during that time, or you may send them to our presenters later. Today's webinar presentation will be posted in the FLC website at www.floridaleagueofcities.com under the Events and Training tab following the session. Thank you all for joining us, and now we will hear from our presenters on promoting your natural assets. Brian?
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Brian Knight with Seminole County. We also have Sharon Sears here. She is, we're working kind of innovatively and remotely. She's on my speakerphone speaking through the webinar while she has a PowerPoint in her office. We're having some thunderstorm issues around here as well as technical issues. We're going to talk today a bit about our natural lands, natural areas, trails, and different opportunities that we have in Seminole County that we as a county and of course our citizens value very, very highly, and how we have developed, or not developed, but preserved, and in some cases developed trails over time for our citizens. And as we're finding through the years, not only for our citizens but also for tourists, and how we are utilizing a lot of these areas as a niche to be able to bring folks into the county. Just as an overview, we focus on our areas as actual economic impacts to the community. We're going to talk today about how we are currently packaging what our product is essentially as we market our natural lands and trails, and branding our areas as unique. We're going to talk about how we have repackaged, how we put the natural lands areas and trails out there, and how we are repositioning trails as a unique destination for visitors, and how we're using instrumental programs and partners to do so. We're also going to talk about an overview of the destination marketing program and partnerships with our Seminole County CVB, which my division has the luxury of having the CVB and tourism as another division within our department. With regard to trails, our county has over 40 miles of paved trails, as well as a number of miles of off-road hiking trails, mountain biking trails, and equestrian. We focused, as we developed our paved trails and unpaved trails, as from the community position as convenient and safe, unique, and there's a value and benefits with regard to health and interconnectivity. Value with not only with regard to the social value and the health value, but also to home values and business values, and focusing on residential property values co-located near trails. Our natural lands were preserved, have been preserved over the years through bond referendum. Some of the same monies that created our trails. Our voters have voted twice now, in the early 90s and then in 2000, to preserve these areas, and voted in a number of tax dollars to be able to do so, amassing this last referendum $25 million, $20 million dedicated to trails and $5 million dedicated to purchasing conservation areas. To the right, you'll see our nature center in Geneva, Ed Yarborough Nature Center, named after the gentleman who donated the land. There we provide hikes and children camps for kids in the summertime. We're also expanding that to winter and spring. And you'll see some of the monitoring and maintenance activities on the lands, one of which would be prescribed burning towards the bottom. As I mentioned, we have a number of programs focusing on adult and youth. For the adults, it's mainly guided hikes, and we also work with partners such as Autobahn to get people out and bird watching. With our youth programs, we've gone from 2 weeks of summer camp at Ed Yarborough to now this year will be approximately 12 weeks between summer, winter, and spring in 2 different locations. So, map of our county. Our trail system actually really does act as an artery, runs east to west, north and south, and pretty much touches every city we have. As a matter of fact, we were, all of our cities and the county applied and became gateway communities through the Florida Trail Association. We're very proud of that. That just sort of is an added marketing tool where the Florida Trail Association highlights all of us as being co-located to the Florida National Scenic Trail. In addition, you'll see in light green different conservation areas, 13 of which are the properties owned by the county, some of which are state properties. But we, and Sharon will touch on this more, we really market ourselves based on the natural feel. And as a matter of fact, Seminole County, the motto is the natural shores. So it's a little bit of some of the background, where we've come from, where we are. We are now repackaging through our Convention and Visitors Bureau channel our natural lands and trails as a unique destination. Obviously, we position ourselves in our trails and natural lands as convenient, safe, unique, and there's value added. Plus, we're focusing on being a gateway community. We're award-winning, and because we feel that some of the entities that we have are very much unique, we're focusing on trails and natural lands as a niche draw for events such as softball tournaments and other events that might be drawn to the county, soccer tournaments, which really bring positive economic impact of over $20 million a year. And again, Sharon's going to touch more on that, but just wanted to make you very aware that this is something that you can focus on as an organization. Find out what your niche is, and for us, it's not that we're competing with the county next door, but sometimes we are. Why would a softball tournament from the Northeast want to come down and locate itself in Seminole County rather than Osceola or Orange County? We focus on, well, obviously we have great venues, our soccer fields, but in addition to that, you might be able to stay very close to the venue and drive just about under 10 miles to get to a natural land or a trail. Of course, since we've built the trails, we've actually build them and they will come. Here's a picture of the Westin Hotel, co-located on our Seminole County Trail on International Drive in Heathrow. They located this along the trail knowing that they would have a walkable scenario from the hotel to just across the street where you can't see, but a downtown area in the Heathrow community, mixed-use type scenario where people can go shop, eat, they can get back on the trail, they can bike and get a little exercise afterwards. In addition, these trails or these hotels we've worked with a bit to realize that there's some economic opportunity for them, some business opportunity for bike rentals, through business partnerships with the county, public-private partnerships, obviously event opportunities on the trails or any of our parks, meeting coordination. We have a sponsorship program now that any business can get involved with, and developing alliances with other partners such as the Florida Trail Association, the Department of Forestry. We have dozens. And of course, we really put it out there that our areas are award-winning. We don't try to hold this stuff back. We really throw it out there. We on our website or in email blasts that, hey, we just won the USTA, United States Tennis Association National Award, Best Tennis Agency in the nation. We really focus on things like that. We've won Best Trail in the state, a number of other awards that we just put out there, and that's just another thing that brings people in. I'm going to turn it over to Sharon now. She's going to talk a little bit more about some of the branding that we've done in the county and some of what the really good stuff that CVB's been doing.
Thank you, Brian. I hope that some of you that are listening today have had an opportunity to visit beautiful Seminole County. We are one of the smallest counties in the state. We're only 344 square miles, but in this small county, we are abundant with parks and trails. We have 2,000 lakes here in Seminole County, and it just really helps us promote why we like to be known as Florida's natural choice. We've continued that promotion in our branding, as you will see. Our attractions have more bikes. Our parks don't need themes, and the perfect place for groups to get out of their shell. And in all of those themes, we stick with the nature. We stick with the outdoors, and our focus groups have found that this is what really gets people's attention, especially the gators for our international visitors. They usually haven't had an opportunity to see a gator, so they're just fascinated by getting to see them. And here in Seminole County, we have Lake Jessup, which has the largest concentration of alligators in North America. So you're guaranteed to see a gator there, and it gives us an opportunity to get people in the outdoors. We have over 40 hotels here with 4,400 rooms, and every hotel is either located on the trail, near a trail, or near a park. So that's something that we really like to promote because we are very conveniently located. We are 30 minutes from the attractions, 30 minutes from the beaches, but at the same time, we really like to promote ourselves as when you want to be close to everything but still get away from it all, you come to Seminole County. This will give you an idea of some of the more other things that we have done, our visitor's guide, our rec brochure, and then also our media brochure, as well as CD. That brand carries all the way over into every type of periodical that we produce. We also give away Gator ink pens, and we laugh and say that that's probably our biggest seller because people just love to collect them, and we have a lot of people at trade shows telling us, oh, I've got a couple kids back home, can I have 2 or 3 more? And we always wonder if one of them really for them because people seem to love this. Again, I can't stress enough how well the nature theme has gone over for us. People will tell us that the otter is my favorite, or the bird's my favorite, but it continues to see that the gator is used more and more. This even flows over on our letterhead, our envelopes, and business cards. This is for our trade show, and again, we continue the brand here. But we've also pulled in a photo of one of our lakes. You will see the two ladies on the trail as well. We've been promoting that this is a great place for girlfriend getaways, also as a destination for family reunions. And then we have several businesses that are now coming here to take advantage of our team building opportunities and doing activities on the trail or the zip line at the zoo. You'll also see on the bottom of the floor of the trade show display, it represents a stream. Our target audiences, of course, are the leisure market. In our focus group, we found that many people enjoy staying here because, again, they're in between the beaches and the attractions. Our drive market is probably about 3 hours from here. It's when we start getting the drive market. Our niche market, of course, are people that enjoy nature, and that ranges from fishermen to people that enjoy walking or birding. Our biggest market, though, currently is the sports marketing. Our busiest sport activity that we have is soccer, then followed by tennis. Last year we were the home of the Elite Club National Soccer Tournament for girls. We had nearly 150 teams here the day after Christmas, and we did not have a single team from the state of Florida. They were all from out of state. They were here for a week, took over 4,000 hotel rooms, so it was our biggest event last year. Our hotels are just great partners of the CVB. They work with us to promote our outdoor activities. Those that are on the trail have the trail maps available at the front desk. And we really work to promote the businesses that are along the trail system to encourage them to be part of our wild card promotion to offer discounts to our guests that visit Seminole County. Again, we're working very closely with the Florida Trails Association and our 7 cities. We're doing that with all of our collateral. Our website works very closely with that of the Leisure Services website. We link with each other. We have the search engine optimization. If anyone would ask for, do a search for trails in Florida, hotels in Seminole County, it leads you to our website. And then we also continue to do mass email blasts for local visitors and also have our calendar of events on our website as well. Everything that we do and distribute from ads to actual print material is nature-based. Our sports guide and also our meeting planners guide are all electronic now. We utilize our trade shows to recruit efforts for people to come here to participate in our nature-based activities, emphasizing the trails as being a very unique feature for the sporting or convention experience. Again, this is really working out very well for businesses that want to have team exercises. Again, depending a great deal on the e-blast. And then we also have an adventure blog on the website, and we recently encourage viewers of the website to post their own photos of experiences here in Seminole County, and that's been very successful. We're also working with our hotels to offer rental and exercise gear for the trail users. The businesses that are on the trails to include a sticker in their window saying that they do give special discounts for the trail users. And also the Leisure Services Department is working on sponsorships to underwrite the cost of these promotional materials. So it's a win-win for both the Convention and Visitors Bureau as well as Leisure Services. As Brian mentioned, we're all one department, so it really works very well that we all work so closely together.
And to wrap it up, we really we've talked about our values through the years and what we value as a department, and we've just focused in on the It Starts in Parks message through FRPA, Florida Recreation and Parks Association, and NRPA, National Recreation and Parks Association, and we've kind of made it our own a bit, and it's achievement, a sense of community, conservation of our natural treasures, good health, ties to our heritage, connection to nature, economic development, and of course our community's future. It starts in parks. That's all we have from Seminole County perspective today. I'm going to turn it over to Tara Meeks from the City of Jacksonville.
Jan, I actually just lost. When you transfer that over, I can't see the screen any longer.
I lost my screen.
Yeah, I lost mine as well.
Are you able to see anything?
No, I can't see anything. I can just see the little menu box that tells me we're still logged in. Would you like for me to just go ahead and talk through it, assuming everybody else out there can still hear us?
Yes, if you would. I'm not sure what's going, why I can't see my screen. I've lost the control.
Yeah, I can't pull it up either. Okay, well, we're having technical difficulties, and as I mentioned earlier, we're experiencing some nasty storms up here throughout some parts of the state, so that may be the reason. But you can't see my beautiful slides with lovely pictures. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of give you guys the audio version of this here, and if we can jump back into this presentation later, we will. My name's Tara Meeks. I am the Division Chief of Waterfront Management, and I oversee a portion of the City of Jacksonville Park. One of the unique things about the City of Jacksonville is that we're a consolidated government. We're located up in Northeast Florida, and we actually represent both Duval County and the City of Jacksonville. The consolidation took place in the 70s, so we've been doing this for a while. Over the years, we have acquired quite a large amount of acreage in the area, and we now have the largest city park system in the continental United States, both based on gross acreage and parks per capita. Our park system is split up into basically 4 different categories of parks. We have our active parks, which are ball fields, playgrounds, community centers, and concessions. Our preservation parks, which includes more of the passive recreation, and they have trails, picnic areas, pavilions, and grills. We have our waterway facilities, because we do have quite an extensive amount of waterfront property here in Jacksonville, and those have boat ramps, marinas, piers, and water taxi concessions. Our last type of parks are oceanfront parks, and those include the beach. They both have campgrounds, we have trails, and we also have food concessions at those facilities. If you were to look at an overview map of Duval County, you would see that there is a fair amount of land in public ownership. Not all of that land is owned by the city. A fair amount of it is. We have about 30,000 acres that the city owns. But there's approximately 84,000 acres of public land, and that's collective between the city, the state park, the national park, the St. Johns River Water Management District. JEA, our utility authority here, owns some property. We have a couple of state forests that are in the area. And if, as I mentioned, if you were to look at a map, you would see that a lot of these public lands are along the western and northern boundaries of the county. They kind of make a nice arch there and connect up to the ocean. And the idea behind this was that we were actually going to create this nice greenway around the outside of the county to control urban sprawl, to help recharge the aquifers in the area, and to preserve some of the environmentally sensitive lands that we have up here in Northeast Florida. When this idea was originally conceptualized, the city of Jacksonville didn't really have a program to oversee this acquisition of land and to help us acquire these goals that we decided that we wanted to do as a government. So they established the Preservation Project Jacksonville program. It was started back in 1999. And the idea was to acquire lands as a growth management tool because, as I mentioned, the city of Jacksonville spans the entire Duval County. And one of the issues, or one of the things that you have to deal with when you become a consolidated government is sprawl. People tend not to stay within the core of the city because the city spans the boundaries of the county, so they develop residents out and businesses out throughout the county, and because we provide city services throughout. It was also, as I mentioned, to protect environmentally sensitive lands. That was another one of the goals. To buffer the watershed from development, to maintain and potentially improve water quality, and to provide public access to the city's vast natural areas. Those are the goals of Preservation Project Jacksonville. When this project was originally conceptualized, the goal was to acquire about 10 to 20 square miles of land. And to date, we've now acquired 80 square miles of land. So this project, once it got up and going, it really gained momentum and gained support from the residents, and it really took off. So what we're seeing right now is that corridor along the western and northern portions of Duval County that I was explaining. A lot of the public lands were purchased in this area. They were acquired here to kind of create that nice flowing corridor around the county. Because this program was so successful and we've acquired so much land so quickly, we're kind of a new program. We've amassed 50,000 square acres in the past 10 years or so. So the way that we have moved forward with this is to really focus on partnerships. We've used partnerships to help meet our program goals, to assist with land acquisition, to consistently manage this land, to develop and maintain the facilities, optimize marketing efforts, and to recruit volunteers. We have partnerships with state agencies, with the federal agencies, with nonprofit organizations, and we've actually gone a step farther beyond just making partners with some existing entities to create new partnerships between the entities to come up with a marketing branding system and to help us make the most of limited resources. One of the partnerships that we have here in the city of Jacksonville that's unique to our area is the Timucuan Trail Partnership. It's a partnership between the National Park Service, the State Park Service, and the city of Jacksonville. This partnership focuses on marketing all of our city facilities collectively, or all of the park facilities, public facilities collectively, to get people to come to Jacksonville and experience our public lands more as a seamless event or more as a seamless destination, so that you can come here and you can go to Kingsley Plantation, which is out on one of the national parks, and you can go to Boneyard Beach out at one of the state parks, and you can come to Norman Studios, and you can come to Hanna Park, which is a city facility, and that you can go camping, and it's all together as one instead of the National Park Service strictly marketing their facilities, Kingsley and Fort Caroline, and then the state trying to reach out to that same user group and the city doing the same. This partnership has also allowed for us to take on some really neat projects and to further restore and develop some of our facilities in this area. We have the Rebo Club, which is out on Fort George Island. It's a state-owned facility, but all three entities came together to collectively pool $4 million to restore it. It was built back in 1928, and when the state took it over, it was in a pretty bad shape. And today, it's a beautiful facility, and it can be rented for weddings, and it has nice educational facilities inside of it. This partnership has also allowed us to develop a nice multi-use trail system that stretches between the federal property, the state property, and the city property, so they all line up together. It's a nice paved trail. You can start at one end, and you can stretch your way all the way through to the other end without having to stop or move your car or walk through the grass. Something else that we're working on through this partnership is a water taxi tour. And the idea here is that the city of Jacksonville, we have a lot of waterways, creeks, and rivers that branch all up through the northern portion of our county. A lot of these areas aren't accessible to most people who come and either reside or who visit Jacksonville because they don't have access to boats. A lot of people who aren't familiar with the area generally find going into the grassy areas with the trees all around a little unnerving. They don't know if they're going to see an alligator. They don't know if they're going to see a snake. So by providing this water taxi tour, we hope to bring people here and showcase all of our beautiful natural lands that we've acquired and to really give them kind of a behind-the-scenes view of what it is that we are trying to protect here. In 1999, when the preservation project was started, we also started a nonprofit organization called Timucuan Trails Parks Foundation, and their specific goals were to help market the program, the preservation parks, and to raise money for capital improvements and for research. A couple of their key projects so far is they've helped raise money to develop the conceptual plans for the Florida Civil War Center and the Mocama Archaeological Center. And again, that ties back into some of the unique recreational resources that we have here in Jacksonville. There's a lot of history in this area. We've had a couple of Civil War skirmishes here. We've had the Timucuan Indians have lived up here for a long time, and we really have some unique history in this area that we try to focus on and that we're trying to develop to bring people here who have an interest in that type of activity. Some other partnerships that we have are with all of the unincorporated cities within Duval County. I mentioned we are a consolidated government, but we do have 4 unincorporated cities. There are 3 beaches cities, Atlantic Beach, Jacksonville Beach, and Neptune Beach, as well as the city of Baldwin. So we try to work real closely with them to make sure that we're meeting their needs and that we are collectively working together to, again, provide that seamless experience for people who live here and who are coming to visit the area. We have some MOUs with the Division of Forestry to help them help us manage our lands to prescribed burns. We are a small program and we don't have enough staff to go out there and do those types of activities. So to help keep the lands in a nice, both environmentally sound state and also visually appealing state, we do work with the Division of Forestry to burn our properties. We work with the Water Management District to provide access to Julington-Durbin Preserve, which is owned by the Water Management District, but the City of Jacksonville manages all the recreation out there, so that's allowed us to open that up to the public. We also work with some other nonprofits in the area to provide educational programs and to provide access to some of the properties which we currently or previously didn't have public access to because we didn't have staffing to keep those facilities open. Something that we are currently looking into and that we're working on right now is working with some of the recreation-based nonprofits in the area. And SORBA, the Southeastern Off-Road Bicycling Association, is an example of a group that we're working on establishing a memorandum of understanding with to develop and maintain some of the facilities at one of our parks, Beach and Peach, which is right in the center of Jacksonville. And they're interested in creating and maintaining the BMX trail, which is shown up there in the upper left-hand corner of the site plan that you currently see on your screen. It's something that was included in the site plan, and when they saw this, wasn't going to be developed until a later phase, but they expressed interest in going ahead and helping the city get that up and running. So we're working on that with them. We work with a lot of our partners to help us promote the nature-based tourism by creating that cohesive marketing promotion. As I said, there's a Timucuan Parks symbol that we try to include on everything, and we try to put our partners on all of our signage at the front of our parks and all of our brochures. We try to make sure that we mention everybody and mention the other facilities. So if I have a brochure that's going out for one of my parks, I try to make sure that I include on there reference to the state parks, national parks, the other lands that are in our area, so that, again, we're making the most of our limited resources. Something that we're currently working on is forming a coalition to promote not just the national parks and the centennial celebration that's coming up in 2016, but again making the most of that and promoting all of the public lands in this area. And the coalition consists of the National Park Service, the Florida Park Service, the City of Jacksonville, Trust for Public Lands, North Florida Preservation, and quite a few others. So we just started working on that. We met for the first time last month. We also try to become involved in existing initiatives. There's a lot of great initiatives out there that you can get involved in with limited staff time and limited resources. An example of that would be the East Coast Greenway. That's something that we applied for to have our Timucuan Trail incorporated into, and it was accepted, so that's now a way for us to promote that specific facility. We've also really tried to get into social media this year. We have a Facebook page, a Twitter page. We started doing flash mobs, which for those of you that don't know what that is, it's a planned skit that you do in a public place that's kind of unexpected and the public doesn't know about it. So we've been videotaping those and putting them on YouTube. We're getting into Foursquare, and we just started using the QR code. And a QR code, if you're looking at the bottom of the screen, if you can see it, it's this second one in from the left, right between the Facebook and the Twitter symbols. And if you have the app on your phone, you take a picture of this, and it'll link you directly to whatever web page that you have this QR code scrambled for, I guess. And we're looking at putting that on our brochure. One of the brochures that I have is for Hanna Park. That's the first one that we put this on. It's a large oceanfront park. It's got 1.5 miles of beach, and it's got 60 acre stocked fishing pond. And we've got 300 campsites, and we've got cabins out there. And we put this on the brochure because the idea is that we'll put our Hanna Park brochure in some of the visitor centers, and then people can link to our website on their cell phone and see the additional amenities that we have in there that aren't listed out in the brochure. There's also been some talk about using this QR2 code on interpretive signs out in the trails. So if you had a trail sign that said, you know, this is a gopher tortoise burrow, you could then scan this little code into your phone, and maybe we would have our park naturalist pop up and give you a 2-minute presentation on the gopher tortoise, you know, where it lives, what type of habitat you find it in, why it's ecologically significant to the area, and use that as an interpretive way as well. We also try to promote our facilities through special events. We do large-scale special events such as the Jack's Parks Get Out There event. It's held annually, and we try to incorporate most of our city facilities in it, and we do things like water taxi tours, and we do living history days out at some of our historical facilities like Camp Milton, which is a old skirmish site from the Civil War. And we try to let people know, hey, we have these great things going on in the city of Jacksonville. Why don't you come out to the parks? Our special events are targeted more at people who live within the city of Jacksonville. Something that research has told us is that the city of Jacksonville grew so fast that we have so many people who are here from other parts of the country that they don't know what great resources they have in their backyard. So our special events are a way to get people from the local area out. We also have the more specific events such as our movie nights that we hold out in our different parks, and we invite people to come out and watch a movie in a natural setting, sort of like the idea of a drive-up theater, except for you have to get out of your car. We spend a lot of time on trying to promote our facilities because we realize that there's a great economic impact behind nature-based tourism and ecotourism. Visit Florida back in 2009 released a study that said 67% of Florida visitors include nature-based activities in their travel plans. The annual economic impact of cyclists nationwide is estimated to be about $60 million, according to the North Carolina Department of Transportation. 19.8 million U.S. residents traveled away from home to view birds in 2006, according to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. And according to the stateofFlorida.com, Florida is the top travel destination in the world, and tourism has an annual economic impact of $57 billion on Florida's economy, which is definitely a great, significant amount of money. And as we look at what we have here in the city, we just try to make sure that we are letting people know that, hey, we have some great things here, and we would like them to come and visit us and spend some of their money within our area. So I think that concludes our presentation. And we are going to move to questions, I believe.
Okay, Tara, thank you so very much. We want to apologize for the technical difficulty that we experienced earlier, but your presentation was excellent, and I know that our attendees got a lot of information from that presentation. We do have a couple of questions, and one caller wants to know, how do you address the ADA compliance? Are all your trail surfaces ADA compliant? Have you obtained ADA variances through the state for those facilities that are not ADA compliant? And any of you can respond to that if you would.
I can touch on that for a little bit. We build all of our paved trails to be ADA compliant to Florida accessibility laws. One thing that did come out from the Department of Justice began enforcement this year, I believe in March, was the accessibility by folks with disabilities with what they refer to as other mobility devices. That being pretty much any kind of motorized vehicle that is used by a handicapped person to be able to get out and about just like we would on a trail. We basically have kept the trails open to anyone historically if they receive a permit from us for a golf cart or something like that of larger size. We are coming up with new policies now based on that Department of Justice, and basically because of some of our natural areas, some of our trails, we are limiting the size of the other mobility device to 60 inches in width because basically the Department of Justice leaves it open to for the agency to make sure that we're providing as much accessibility as possible. But if there's any time that a larger vehicle might cause destruction to the environment or push other users out of the way, we have the ability to make sure that we're just doing the right thing to make sure all of our users are getting out and about. And so right now that's what we're working on to make sure that we're abiding by Department of Justice rules, and that applies to our hiking trails and also our on-road, our paved trails. But again, all of our paved trails are built to ADA standards.
Okay, great. Also, there was a question on team building. I think Sharon had discussed the fact that in Seminole County, what you are doing lends itself to team building activities. Could you expound on that a little bit more?
Be happy to. We have many companies that especially go to the zoo because of our new zip line and do team building activities. We're seeing companies more and more incorporate this new exercise into their meetings where they are working with employees to depend on each other more, to just really develop that teamwork concept. And it's really worked out for us at the zip line. And we also see it on the trails where perhaps they'll have a walk together and do different handoffs, and a portion of it will be a run and so on. So we're seeing it develop more and more. It's not really a program that the CVB has together that we offer, but we are getting inquiries from companies wanting to know if there's someone such as the zoo that does offer these programs. So I feel that it's certainly an opportunity that we're going to see more companies do.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Well, I see that we don't have any additional questions. Would any of our presenters like to share anything else?
Well, it was my pleasure to be part of this presentation today.
We'd certainly love to see everyone come to Seminole County.
All right, wonderful. Brian, Sharon, Tara, thank you so very much for that information. We also would like to thank our attendees today. And again, we encourage you all to visit our FLC website at www.floridaleagueofcities.com. And the webinar presentation will be posted there under the Events and Training tab following the session. So we do appreciate you all joining us today for promoting your natural assets. Good evening.
Thank you.